Bikes! Hey guys, it's Morgan from Highland Cycles coming to you with another fork seal video. Today we're going to be doing fork seals on 4CS forks. It's off of a Husqvarna 501, but it's all the same, KTM or Husky. So, like the last one, we're just going to do one fork. That's all you really need to see. They are different though. The thing about 4CSs is you got the rebound on one side, compression on the other, but the way you do the fork seals and bleed everything is the same on both. So, first, I'm going to start with taking the fork cap off again. I'm going to put a link in the description for these parts, but it's a Motion Pro 08-0573 is the fork cap tool for the 4CSs. So, go ahead and put her up here in the soft jaws. Again, if you don't have soft jaws and these are being hard, you can do it while it's still in the triple clamps. But if you do have soft jaws, it sure makes it a lot easier. So I'll go ahead and those run the right amount of tightness, not like some of them that are on there with like super duper gorilla grip. But so we go ahead again. On doing forks, you want to count clicks, okay, before you take it all apart. So I count the clicks as I go in, so that when we set it, we can go all the way in and then come back out. That's the best way to set your clicks. So we're going to count this on the rebound side. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 13. Right on. Write that down. Rebound 13. So now, to work on them, you take them all the way out. Now, you guys mentioned in my last video that I wasn't using gloves, and that's a really good thing. So, I am going to use some Nitrile Gloves. I'll put a link in the description for those. We use Motion Pro ones. They're good. If you guys want to, if you buy any of this stuff on Amazon through the links that I put up, we do make a little bit of money, so that'd be awesome if you're interested in helping us out. So now we got gloves, and we need to take this off. 19mm wrench. Going to push the spring down. There we go. Put our fork cap tool back in place. Another 19 for the fork cap tool. Get that loose. Should come loose relatively easily. There we go. That off. Make sure, always take a look at everything. Make sure everything looks good. Looks great. So now, get this spring out, put it down. Now we're going to drain the oil. Got a handy dandy little sink over here to drain that. Also going to need a 17mm Allen. I've got this hooked to an adapter because this is a 1/2 inch Allen, but I got a 3/8 adapter. These can be a little tight. And on these, I don't usually use the impact because there's some kind of delicate stuff down in here. On the other ones I do because I know what's in there, but these a little bit different. So chalk it back up in the soft jaws over here. There we go. Now loosen that. I'm gonna pull this out. There we go. That's what the base of these looks like. It's kind of a funky fork setup, and I'm not going to go into the specifics about the 4CSs because we can go on and on and on about whether they're good or bad or any of that stuff, but we're just working on doing fork seals. Now, you'll notice most of the stuff drains out the bottom, which is a little bit different than most forks. To get this out, sometimes you see how it's kind of being hard? It's not because it's still threaded in there, it's because there's an O-ring. So what you can do is you can take this thread it just a little bit so that you're not going to damage any threads. And nice soft mallet, and kind of like that. Take that back out. And there we go. There's the cartridge. There ain't anything left out there. Now we're ready to take the seals out. Got our cartridge here. You want to take that and bleed it out, get all the oil out. Now what we're going to do is take the seals, and what you do is you take a flat blade screwdriver like that, and you're going to put it right into between the fork seal and the tube, okay? And you're going to be careful. You're going to push it in there, and then you're going to twist it a little bit to help move it up. But you don't want to go crazy because you'll damage the fork tube. So you want to go nice and easy. Nice sharp screwdriver. You get it in there, and you're just going to twist. And I'll show you what this looks like. You get right up in here. Go like that, and you're just going to go like that. And kind of work your way around until it's off. Okay? Just like every other fork, you're going to have a snap ring inside here that's holding the oil seal down in there. KTMs are a little bit different than the other ones, the Japanese ones, but they work basically the same. So you get your screwdriver down in there, and you're just going to kind of work yourself around. So now we got that loose. Get the snap ring out, oil seal out. Now to get it apart, you're just going to slide hammer it apart. So you're going to go boom, bing, just like that. There we go. Now we're going to take a look at the bushings to make sure they look good. And they look pretty good on the outside, but if you look in there, see that ring? That's not good. That's starting to wear out. So we're going to put new bushings in these forks. Same with this. So this, you're looking at the outside. You can see it's kind of worn and marked up. So we're going to do new bushings for this gentleman because we're just doing this as maintenance, and we want to make sure everything is tip-top perfect when we go back together. So now what we're going to do is wash this thing. We're going to clean it off a whole bunch because what we want to do is inspect it for any kind of dings or nicks or scratches or anything like that. So this is just good brake parts cleaner. I buy it from a local company here. Put it in this. This is an air assisted spray thing. So you just pour it in there and you put air there and good to go. Now we'll take our rag, clean everything off. While we're cleaning, we're looking for gnarly stuff. And see, this gentleman, I already saw this before, but he's got some pitting right there. You can kind of see, I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, yeah, you can see. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to smooth that up. And I've already tried cleaning it like the normal way with some Scotch-Brite, and it's not really working. So what we're going to have to do is get some emery cloth. So I got some emery cloth. It's 600 grit. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to see if we can't get that pitting off of there. The good thing about this is it's low enough that actually I think only the dust seal hits it because these forks weren't leaking. So that's good, but we're still going to try to get that out of there. So take the emery cloth and we're going to move it. We're going to turn it like that and try to see if we can't get that off of there. So that is really down in there. So we're going to bring out the heavy guns. Fortunately, it's far enough down the fork, it's not really causing a problem for leakage, but since it's in here getting worked on, we might as well try to make it good. So now what I got is just a die grinder with a Scotch-Brite wheel on it. You got to be really careful we don't go too far up on the fork with this, because this could damage the chrome. But we're going to try to see if we can't smooth that out. That stuff is down in there. But because it's not affecting the fork seals, I'm not going to bother with it. We got it as smooth as I can. I don't want to go any further and go through the chrome and cause any more issues. So I'm going to stop there. So we got that buffed up as good as we really need to go. It's actually pitted down into the chrome pretty good. But again, since it's so low and it's not affecting the oil seal, we're just going to leave it. Really, the only good way to fix this, if you want to fix it all the way, is to get a new chrome leg. Since it's not really causing problems, I don't see the need for that. So now what we're going to do is take this Scotch-Brite. It's just the red stuff. I don't know. It's got some grit number. But anyway, and then we're going to put a crosshatch on the fork leg. So you take it, wrap it around, and we're going to twist it up like that. Come back down. There we go. That puts a nice crosshatch in the chrome that helps hold oil on this. Just a really, really thin film so that the seals slide up and down really good and don't hang up and cause other problems. You want a little bit of oil on here and not just dry seal on the chrome. So there we go. Now we're ready to put our seals back in. We use SKF seals on all our forks, Japanese, Austrian, whatever. But SKFs are the best to use. The heavy duty ones are a little more expensive, but they really hold up really good. I'm going to put the link in the description for these seals. If you want to buy them on Amazon, they are 48 millimeter SKFs and they fit all KTM. So it's not just 4CSs. They fit the AERs, the old open chambers, the old closed chambers, pretty much any 48 millimeter fork from KTM, these will fit. So each kit comes with an oil and a dust. So pull those out of here. Now, to put seals onto the fork leg, it's really best to have these bullets because it just makes it easy, but you don't have to if you're careful. These just make it so you don't have to be quite so careful. Put that on. Oil seal goes next. Then, on a KTM, I go ahead and put the snap ring on next because it's hard to get around the fork. You can do it, but sometimes it tends to bend them. Put that on. So I got the dust seal, snap ring. Now the oil seal, there's a way that it goes. That side is going down and away. This side goes towards the oil. And if you look at it closely, you can see why. But anyway, so we put it on just like the other one came off. Boom, done. And take that off of there. Take the O-ring or take the washer, put it on. Now we're going to grab some new bushings. I like OEM KTM or white power bushings best. You can see, nice and shiny. Take a look at the difference between them. This is the new one. This is the old one. You can see the difference. The other one you can see a bigger difference. Slide that on. Then so the outsides look pretty much the same, but the inside, you can see, is the big difference. So there we go. Anyway, new bushings, always good. Also makes the forks just slide so nice and generally makes the bike work way better. So there we go. Now we're going to put them together. Come in here like this. Take your fork seal driver, again, link in the description. 48 millimeter fork seal driver will work on any 48 millimeter fork. So Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, KTM, Husqvarna, whatever. But we take that. Then we come around here. And first we're going to drive the bushing into place. So you hear that change? That's the sound of that bushing going home where it needs to be. Go to your home! Now we're going to take the oil seal, slide it down, get our driver on there, and then listen to this. You can hear it too. Ha ha! So that's it going home. Good. Now we're going to take the snap ring and we're going to put it in there. And you want to be careful because you could probably have to use a flat blade screwdriver to kind of tuck it in there, but you want to be really careful that you don't damage the seal. So we got it down in there a little ways. We're going to come in here and just go nice and easy. Keep that in there and get it down into its home. There we go. And then with the dust seal, I just push like this and push it down. We're good to go. Everything moves smooth. We're good. Now, with the 4CS fork, it's weird compared to every other fork, in my opinion. So, we got this cartridge all bled out. It's all good. We're going to take it, we're going to slide it in, and we're going to put it down in there, and you got to kind of wiggle it. And you kind of push it down there. It's tight. So you kind of get it down, and then we're going to boom, and then look in here, and you can see that the threads are all down where they need to be right in there. If not, it looks like that. So as you push this up, there we go. Boom. There. Now it's where it needs to be. Now here's the weird part. You actually put these things in, you put oil in it from the bottom, and it's odd. Okay? And we're going to measure the level later, but we'll put them in from the bottom is how we start. So, got some plastic shims, preload shims. Take those out, set them down. We also have the adjuster rod. I'm going to take that out, set it down. Now we're going to tip this thing upside down, and we're going to put oil in it from here. So we're using Maxima 5-weight, the good stuff. I have it here in this bottle because we have it in bulk, and we're going to pour it in. And the deal is, these forks take 630 cc's ish. So we're going to start there. Got our ratio right here. I'm going to put 500 in to start, because that's what it measures. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to pour in, and you pour slowly. And like I said, it's weird, because normally you'd think this would be running out on the floor, but it's not. So you go in here like this, and then you're going to take this and you're going to pump it. And you can hear it gurgling and bleeding down. So we're filling up the cartridge from the bottom, which is kind of backwards for most forks. I'm going to pump that. Keep an eye on it so it doesn't go too much. But if you're doing this yourself, you'll see it will slowly go down. You'll see bubbles coming up. We're going to get all 500 cc's in from this end. And as you pour it in there, like I said, just take this. You're going to pull down nice and slow. If you pull too hard, it's going to pull it out and all the oil is going to go everywhere. So don't reach up in here and yank down really hard, because it will pull the cartridge right out and oil will go everywhere. You pull it down nice and slow. Take a look. Looks good. And the cool thing about these forks is that they will self-bleed. Like, they're actually, 4CS forks are really easy to work on. So we can argue back and forth about which ones, if they're any good at all, but I can tell you right now, as far as working on them, they're one of the easiest forks I've ever done. Now we're going to take our base. It's not really a base valve, but it looks like a base valve. I'm going to slide it in here, and it's going to make a mess. So I'm going to do this over my tank. I'm going to slide it down in, let it go. It makes a bit of a mess. There we go. And then we're going to tighten down. So drop that in there. I'm going to tighten it down. I'm going to start with just hand tight what it'll do. So there we go. Now we can come over here. To our soft jaws. Can hold this just tight enough. Don't have to go crazy. I don't know what the torque spec is, but there's a big O-ring on it, so you're not going to mess it up. We flip them over, Now, if you've done this right, and you push this down, it should come back up eventually. So you're gonna have to probably bleed it. And we need some more oil in there, because if you look down in there, you'll see it's not very high up. And we're looking for, on this fork, it's 68 millimeters is the recommended fork wall height. So now we're going to take some oil. Doesn't really matter how much, because we're just going to add it in there until we get it up over the cartridge. And then we're going to bleed this thing even more. And see, now it's coming up all by itself. So that's, you can actually do this whole process from the top. It just takes a lot longer. So as you're bleeding it, you know it's getting good when you push it down, and then here it comes back up. So we're getting close. And it helps to, when you're bleeding it, it helps to kind of move it away, push down, and pull back. You don't have to come all the way up all by itself, so we're not quite there. And like I said, the cool thing is, because of the way these forks are, it'll eventually bleed and not have any air in the system. So it doesn't really matter as far as like having air get stuck in it. You just want to get the fork oil level right. So Motion Pro style, there we go. Again, link in the description. You want to set it at 68 millimeters, which this one actually looks like it is. I'm going to set it at 70. That gives just a little more gap, a little more cush. Not much, 2 millimeters is not a big deal. Set that in there. Take it, put it off to the side. It won't go over the top. That's okay. Set this down like that. So, looks like we need to add a little bit more to get the right level, because that was, there we go. So, set that down in there, make sure it tips in the oil. There we go. We take our spacers. There are 2 plastic preload spacers. And drop them down on top of that. And in the oil, spring. Actually, before we do the spring, I want to make sure we take this nut. And you want to make sure you screw that down, because it can come up on that, but you want to go down all the way. Nice and tight. Your adjuster rod. Slide that down in there. Spring. There we go. Now, take our cap. I'm going to push down. I'm just going to get it started. There we go. Take our 19 millimeter wrench, and actually we don't have to pull all the way down. We can shove it. What you can do, if you don't want to pull down on that spring all the way, you can come in here at an angle that allows you to get that in there. Push that on nice and tight. And take our fork cap tool. Other 19 millimeter wrench. This one's a ratchet wrench. I'm just going to tighten her all the way down. Make sure that's nice and tight. Definitely don't want that coming loose. It'll ruin things inside that fork if it does. There we go. Now, like that. Start everything by hand if you can. That keeps things from stripping out, because all this stuff is aluminum and really fine threads, and super duper easy to strip it. So, get that. There it goes. All right. Now we got her back up in the soft jaws. I'm gonna put the final little ink on there to make sure it doesn't come loose. There we go. Again, don't have to be gorilla tight on that thing. It's got an O-ring on there. There's a spring on everything, holding everything, so it's not gonna just come loose unless you leave it really, really loose. There we go. 4CS fork done, ready to go back on the bike. This is the rebound side. Compression side works exactly the same. Bleeds the same, takes the same amount of oil. There you go, guys. Hope that helps you with your 4CS forks. If you want to buy any of the stuff that we're using, like I said, there'll be links in the description. I'll have links for all the tools, the oil, and the seals that we use. And yeah, hope you guys like that. If you do, go ahead and subscribe. That means a ton to us. Also, share it if you got friends that are doing fork seals. Yeah. Hope you guys get your fork seals done. Keep those things in good shape. Even if they're not leaking, every 50 hours you ought to be doing 40 to 50 hours. You ought to be servicing the forks. So, hope you guys like that stuff. Hope you get out and spread the gospel of two wheels. And I really hope you find some time to ride your dirt bikes.